Tomorrow is the last day on the job for Defense Secretary Jim Mattis. It is likely the end of a military career that began 50 years ago, and a departure that frankly worries a lot of people who see Secretary Mattis as a stabilizing force in the Trump administration. One of those is retired 4-star Army General Stanley McChrystal.
If we have someone who is as selfless and as committed as Jim Mattis, resigns his position, walking away from all the responsibility he feels for every service member in our forces, and he does so in a public way like that, we ought to stop and say, okay, why did he do it? We ought to ask what kind of commander-in-chief he had that Jim Mattis, the good Marine, felt he had to walk away.
If you were asked to join the Trump administration, what would you say?
I'd say no. I think it's important for me to work for people who I think are basically honest, who tell the truth as best they know it.
You think he's a liar?
I don't think he tells the truth.
Is Trump immoral in your view?
I think he is.
So, Sam, when you hear that from someone like Stanley McChrystal, who we should point out probably is not going to be the next defense secretary based on that interview, I mean, what kind of impact do statements like that have?
Well, Ryan, criticizing the president is nothing new. It comes with the territory. But this is a brave new world. We have an unprecedented number of nonpartisan public servants expressing concern over the president's policies, and we have a president who can't just let it go. He responds to this criticism almost as easily as he responds to flattery. He's consistently distracted. But his policies aren't just having an impact on American commentary, they're directly impacting the federal workforce. We've had senior officials resign in protest over his policies, and replacing them is going to be increasingly difficult every day that goes by that he lashes out at another American or makes another impetuous decision. At the same time, the financial incentives for going into the U.S. government and staying are diminishing by the day. Many of us didn't join the U.S. government for large paychecks, but we need to be able to pay our bills. A quarter of the federal workforce isn't being paid as we speak because of the shutdown. And even if that is ameliorated, President Trump has announced that he's freezing federal wages in 2019. While he lauds private sector wage growth, he's saying that federal workers don't deserve the same kind of benefits. Retention and recruitment of talent in 2019 is going to be very difficult.
Who wants to comment on that? 4-star general, retired 4-star general. Trump is immoral and dishonest.
Well, you know, the concern is that he had all of these generals working for him, and now they're all gone.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Flynn, of course, left in disgrace.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're gone, and that's troublesome that he doesn't have, he doesn't have any military around him to give him advice. With integrity,
yes.
Right? Yeah, he just wants to surround himself with yes men.
Yeah.
And now we should have mentioned before that he's going to use talking about using the Army Corps of Engineers to build that wall.
Right.
Yes. So
Right,
he's meeting with them right now, but it's sad.
I think that they tried to trust him at first initially,
Yeah.
Sure.
you know, and they tried to work with him through all of that, but then they realized that their own integrity was on the line with
Sure.
the, methods that he was trying to implement on everyone else, and that was a good reason to pull back, because when you build something for yourself, and you don't want to get caught up in things that pretty much are going to come back at you at a later time. They had no other choice than to walk away.
Right. And it says a lot for a general. I mean, these are people that have sacrificed their entire lives and their entire being to serve the country.
Yeah,
Career.
and they're
these
now willing to
guys-
risk their career for.
And these guys are backing away from really duty.
Yeah.
They're saying, no, this is not honorable. When a general says, I'm not taking this post, I'm not taking this command, he's saying that this is not a worthy command.
That's right.
And this is not in the country's best interest. So I can't do anything in this situation that make it any better. Therefore, I'm taking myself out of the situation, because if I stay in it, I'm putting the country at risk.
That's right.
Well, it's going to be very interesting, of course. Thank goodness, with the Democrats taking the House now, there's going to be all kinds of investigations. I can't wait. I'm surprised they haven't come up already. Some people are talking about impeachment. I don't see that, but I sure want to see his tax returns, which he's going to have to come up with now. And there'll be a number of other investigations coming out. And then I think it's very interesting, too, that the man who said, I'd take a bullet for him is not going to be testifying.
It's going to be prime time.
That's right.
I mean, that will be everybody in the country. It'll be like the last episode of The Fugitive or something.
You know what Trump was thinking? You know what Trump is thinking? He's thinking,